having some fun with the video aspect of this as well. Though we do have it recording on the hardware device,
I
so
want to get this episode out quick. This is a really good one.
absolutely.
I would invite you to our St. Louis event.
Yeah, I will. Actually, I'm very interested in all this now. So you
Carl,
sparked my interest.
you're going to bring him, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
I
make
want
sure
you.
Carl lets me gives me your name. I'll put you on the list.
Yeah. Well, again, we need to tell everybody where they can get all the information about
I'll
all
put
of
the
this.
links and stuff in there.
We'll say it again.
Psychedelicmissouri.com.
Psychedelic.
Just scroll down a half an inch and you'll see the link to the conferences. Maybe give us your email so we can send you an email, a few times a month.
Yeah. I love them.
Absolutely.
I always love more email.
It's a situation where I can tell you what, if our current system and current cultural standard was working, there wouldn't be a conversation.
Yeah. Well, I think this most certainly probably helps. And even if it doesn't, we're talking about people, like we said before, people that we're in a crisis, so let's do anything we can, though, right?
Right.
What's the harm?
Imagine all those suicides. What if we could just try one more thing?
Yeah.
It's not just suicide, it's addiction. I mean, what's putting bodies on the street today? It's fentanyl and methamphetamine.
There's an economics term called what is it? It's it's not earnings potential. Dang, I had it in my head for a second. But it's like a measurement for the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. It's a measurement for the potential amount of efficiency that a group of people could do. Like, how much work could you do? Like, let's say, for example, I could cut down 100 trees a day, but one day I only cut down 40. I lost the opportunity to cut down 60 trees that day.
Well, or let's say you go to lunch at Addison's, right? Well, what's the opportunity cost of that? The opportunity cost of that is the dollars I spent at Addison's. It's also the opportunity I could have gone to go to another place like Osaka.
Right.
It's opportunity to fast, right?
So if you have a bunch of addicts, that opportunity cost is a way more effective society. We're spending money on trying to keep these people alive instead of getting these people healed so they can go out and make more money for the culture, for the nation. And it's a real, do we want 80,000 homeless people in California? Or do we want, 80,000 hardworking, rehabilitated human beings that are super motivated to go out there and help the next person?
What's the opportunity cost of Schedule 1 prohibition for psilocybin, LSD, MDMA, ibogaine, ayahuasca, peyote, mescaline, what have you? The opportunity cost for that Schedule 1 prohibition of these medicines is literally the fact that we are losing thousands of people every day or every week or every month in this country to suicide and overdose, right? And I'm not saying this is going to completely solve everyone's problem, but it's a tool that will be valuable to so many people.
And the best case scenario for a prescription drug situation like an MAOI type of thing or an SSRI type of thing is just keeping them on that for the rest of their life, and hopefully they balance out, and hopefully they still have some emotional expressiveness. But with these psychedelic treatments, the best case scenario is literally for them to be sober for the rest of their entire life thereafter.
As we wrap up, Carl, I want to, kind of give some people some credit here.
Absolutely.
So we're here in Columbia, Missouri. Our good friend Mike Hagan is kind of one of the visionaries in the space. On KOPN once a week, I think on Sundays usually, who's interviewed most of the luminaries in the psychedelic space for over 2 decades, and really been a kind of a sporer in that mycelial network, bringing people this awareness and these this knowledge. And I also want to credit you, for stepping up as a human being, as an American, as a military veteran, to start talking about this. You've been, I think, extraordinarily effective as a witness and a citizen up in our capital.
It's fun going up there.
Right. I remember you're that committee hearing and talking about your experience in Solder City, and Representative Bill Hardwick from from Pulaski County is talking. He interrupts you to kind of share that he served in the same place at the same time, and you guys kind of bonded over that.
Oh yeah, 1 month later, I put my laptop up there and we had a meeting. Sat down and I showed him some pictures and stuff, and we were like, "Oh, when you were here, I was here."
Yeah, and then Elaine Brewer, who's been a voice for the special operation community, not just the special operators, but their spouses and families. With her, she has that nonprofit Humble Warrior, and we got Will Wisner and Tim Jensen at the Grunstyle Foundation, who have also been incredibly meaningful in helping us leverage from one step to another, and hopefully we'll be able to really do some incredible things with them.
The reason I find it so important is because there has to be those first few voices that come out and start trying to normalize things. And I already have this plan of basically just being a rock for my own family and just being accountable on a daily basis and being extremely consistent and building up the jiu-jitsu community and all that. And so to pair that level of discipline and consistency with also being an advocate for something that's on the fringe right now, the entire goal is for that not to be on the fringe here in a good decade or so, even shorter.
And you remember that first year, 21, I think. Was it 21 or 20? It was 22. First time he came up and really testified on this. Mm-hmm. And we had a state representative, Brian Seitz from Branson, very conservative Republican, who was absolutely dead set against this. To the point where he was not very nice about it. But we took our time. We kept talking to him. By the next year when you were testifying in front of his committee, he said, it's time to put this option on the table. Mm-hmm. Your advocacy has been very effective, and I'm grateful for that.
Well, I appreciate it, and I would never have been able to even make it up there or make it in that room. I have the proper paperwork done to be an official witness or to feel comfortable, walking up in there without your help. So you got to put yourself on that list too, because you've done a lot to move these movements along, to help everybody, and just to be a voice in that community, to build the community in the first place. I'll tell you what, hey, I'm just gonna be honest here. Walking into one of those committee hearings the first time is as anxiety ridden, or however you want to say it, as going to a jiu-jitsu tournament. I was like, feeling it, like, man, I know I'm not going to do my best. Like, I know I'm not going to say the perfect words, but at least I want to do good enough. Mm-hmm. I want to show some good jiu-jitsu out there, show good for the community or whatever. I was, but now I've testified over 100 times, at least 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know. And already, like, just like with the jiu-jitsu tournament, like, I can't wait to go to the next one. Yeah. Like, I can't wait to go there and just kind of almost show off at this point, because it's so obvious to me how to make my point, and of course with that purple belt, it's the same way. I'm going to make my point coming out October 14th in St. Louis at the Fuji tournament.
I'll be there.
Wow. And you're going to be at our conference in St. Louis on the Saturday, the 21st.
I cannot promise that.
Carl, I want you to drag him kicking and streaming out to St. Louis, or if not to Kansas City on the 28th.
Yeah.
And thank you, Dan, for opening up your home to us in this conversation. And you should definitely connect him with Alina. And maybe
I did actually mention that name at one point, and he invited her a while back. And I'm going to go ahead and make that connection because she's a firefighter from around here. And it is true that Boone County and the city have some discrepancies economically and otherwise, but that doesn't mean that we can't find some common ground to get together.
No, and I think, and I'm talking out of my, above my pay grade at this point, but I think there's a need for this. I think this is something that's very interesting in the firefighting community, the emergency, responders in general. And,
the thing I consistently hear from first responders is that the most difficult things to deal with are when you're a firefighter. You show up at a burning home and there's a couple kids in the back, and
it's the thing that I always tell people when they ask about these things, because people want to hear about your worst day or your story, all that. It's not that. What it is for me is I can't drive anywhere in the city of Columbia where I don't see, I remember a car wreck there, or somebody got shot there,
Yeah.
or this kid got run over here, or that house caught on fire, or that's when I drive around town, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I'm a pretty stable guy. I don't, but there's people that aren't. And, you know, and like I was talking about the cup earlier, you never know when your cup's going to be full, right? So right now, I don't think my cup's overflowing, but it could be tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's because after a career, that's what happens. You drive around and you remember these spots and these places, and they're all over.
And it's not just those particular traumatic events, but, you know, the high level of stress, the cortisol that in your system.
Oh my
Right?
God. So that's the other part. You know, like our job, literally, you're sleeping, sound asleep, and then at 3 a.m, the alarm goes off. You got to run to the truck, jump on there as fast as you can, getting around. You're driving a semi truck, it's lights and sirens through town. You get on scene, you go, you know, do work a code on somebody's husband of 50 years that just died. You know what I mean? Then you got to explain to her when everything's cool, and then try to go back and go to bed.
Yeah.
And that really puts a lot on you. You know, I mean, not just here, but on your body, the stress. You know, and then you do it 2 more times that night, and maybe you already did it once before that. You know, and that's, yeah, that wears on you a lot.
Yeah.
Not just mentally,
I
but
believe-
physically. Your stress, your blood pressure, your everything. You know.
So there's a book called The Key to Immortality, or Immortality Key, and there's a few other books, but what you reminded me of is from there, I believe honestly that our original cultures and their original relationships with psychedelics was to process and
Yep.
kind of put that stuff in its place. And furthermore, like to go to war and then to come back home and then to have a group psychedelic experience between the people of that tribe and the warriors that have just come back is a very connecting thing. It's a reconnecting process that they had that we don't have. You know?
Well, I've got to get going,
Yep.
but
It's
thank
been
you all
great.
again.
It's been great. We can just close it off here. What do you think?
I think so. This is great. It gives me time to go get the kids.
Get some stuff going.
Yeah.
So,
Make sure you put your email on
I
the
am. I'm
website.
going to do that as soon as we get out of here.
It's been great. Thanks for coming down, Ethan. And until next time, everybody.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Have a good
See y'all.
And
That was good.
there.
Interesting.
These are good reps. So the thing that I learned about this one is all I've got to do
Man,
is
I got to get on the road.
awesome.